One day, you just stop. No dramatic confrontation. No angry text. No explanation. You simply stop reaching out. Stop answering. Stop caring. People who knew you as loyal, as forgiving, as the one who always tried, they're shocked. They call. You cold, heartless, like you flipped a switch overnight. But here's what psychology reveals. You didn't change suddenly. You changed slowly after 100 small moments of being taken for granted, dismissed, or hurt. And by the time you go silent, you've already grieved the relationship. You didn't give up easily. You gave up exhausted. And that's not cold. That's survival. Let's start with something that's going to completely reframe how people see this pattern. Psychologist Dr. Harriet Lerner, who studies relationship patterns, found that people who give up silently aren't emotionally avoidant. They're emotionally exhausted. There's a crucial distinction. Avoidant people run from conflict at the first sign, but silent withdrawers, they've tried. They've communicated. They've given chances. They've hoped things would change. And after months or years of nothing changing, they don't explode. They go quiet. Because they've learned that their words don't matter to this person. And continuing to speak to someone who doesn't hear you isn't communication. It's self-harm. Research by Dr. John Gottman on relationship dissolution shows something profound. The end of a relationship isn't marked by conflict. It's marked by silence. He calls it stonewalling when it's defensive. But there's a different pattern he identified: emotional withdrawal after chronic invalidation. This is when someone has expressed their needs, their hurt, their boundaries so many times that they've run out of ways to say it. They're not punishing the other person with silence. They're protecting themselves from the pain of speaking to someone who fundamentally won't listen. Because here's what most people don't understand about silent withdrawal. It's not sudden. It's the final stage of a long, painful process. Research by Dr. Kristen Neff on self-compassion shows that people who silently walk away have often spent extensive time trying to make things work. They've had the conversations. They've given second chances, third chances, 10th chances. They've minimized their own hurt. They've made excuses for the other person. They've hoped, tried, and forgiven until they had nothing left. The silence isn't the beginning of giving up. It's the end of trying. Here's the truth they won't tell you about loyalty. Real loyalty isn't staying forever. Real loyalty is trying when it's hard. Real loyalty is communicating when it's uncomfortable. Real loyalty is hoping when evidence suggests you shouldn't. And when someone who's been loyal finally goes silent, they didn't stop caring. They just stopped believing their care would change anything. There's a profound difference between giving up easily and giving up exhausted. People who give up easily never really tried. People who give up exhausted tried until trying was destroying them. The lesson that changes everything. Silence is not cruelty. It's self-preservation. When you've spoken and not been heard, when you've needed and not been met, when you've hurt and not been acknowledged, continuing to engage isn't love. It's self-abandonment. At some point, protecting yourself matters more than maintaining a connection with someone who's shown you, repeatedly, that your needs don't register to them. The silent withdrawal isn't about them. It's about you finally choosing yourself. And there's a pattern here that Dr. Maya Angelou captured perfectly. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. But people who give up silently, they didn't believe the first time. They gave multiple times. They looked for explanations, context, reasons. They wanted to believe the best. Research shows this is common in people with high empathy and strong relationship values. They override their own hurt repeatedly, giving people chance after chance to do better. The silence comes only when the pattern is undeniable and unchanging. Dr. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability and trust shows something critical. Trust isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in small moments of reliability, and it's broken the same way. Not usually in one big betrayal, but in 100 small moments of being let down, dismissed, or hurt. The person who goes silent has experienced accumulation. Each small hurt seemed manageable alone, but together they became unbearable. And by the time they go silent, they're not being dramatic. They're being realistic about what this relationship actually is,